Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OT Podcast. Week 4 of the NFL season about to be underway. But before we get into the weekly predictions, give me one moment.
Going off the
screen. Lombardi is back again. And guess who holds it? Once again, it's me. Back-to-back weeks. Owen, you got to hold it at the end of the season. But I have had it each of these last 2 weeks.
Letting you build up some confidence.
We are ready to go for another week here. But before we get into the games, coming into this week, I have a record of 36-12, followed by our good friend Brian, who's probably watching this episode. If you are, hello, Brian. 33-15 for Brian. Owen sits at 30-18, and the AI is at 32-16. Owen, last place as of right now, behind the AI is not a good spot.
It's all right.
But there's a lot of season left to get through, so I think you got a chance at least to say that. And if we look at the point system that we implemented, right now I have the lead with the point system, 27. Brian has 21. Owen with 11, and the AI is last with 10 points. If you guys don't understand the point system, we can definitely make that into a little bit of a educational term. For anybody who is wondering about that system, it's kind of interesting, but not too crazy. Without further ado, though, we are going to kick it off like they always do on Thursday Night Football. They give us a division rivalry matchup, and this week it is the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Arizona to take on Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. A huge game for both of these two teams, both coming in, I believe, at 2-1. This is a big one. Who do you got winning on Thursday night to open up the week? As no matter who you pick, we already know it's going to be the opposite. Had to throw that in there.
Well, for starters in this week, the Cardinals barely scraping away from the, not 49ers, and a loss in Santa Clara, is the Seahawks. They got their huge victory against the New Orleans Saints last week, which that game was over by halftime. It really was.
It was over by the first quarter?
Pretty much, yeah. I remember watching Red Zone, saw the opening drive touchdown, and that was pretty much it. I didn't see anything else except the score run up for the rest of that game. But division rivalry game, big game, obviously. Could be potentially for first place, depending on what happens with the Niners this week as well. But for this game here, give me the Seattle Seahawks to win this game, take care of business against the Cardinals. Cardinals have not had really tough opponents to start the season. They've had the Panthers and the Saints, which have been victories, and a depleted 49ers team, which they did almost beat, but they still ended up losing that game in the end. And then for Seattle, I feel like they've been a little consistent to start the season, but they definitely had a big showing last week, so I'm sure they're hoping they can carry this into Thursday night, and I think they will a little bit in this one. Should be a okay game for Seattle here. I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona wins this game, though, because, Arizona's kind of been rummaging around here a little bit to start, so we'll see how they perform. But give me Seattle to win this one here in Week 4.
I do think this is a very interesting game, and as of right now, weirdly enough to me, the Arizona Cardinals are favored to win this football game.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I do think Arizona's a solid team, and they're one of those teams for these last couple of years that we keep, poking, do something, it's one of those teams that every year someone expects them to break out and finally emerge as a new contender in the NFC, and they just haven't found that footing yet. They haven't found that ground. And while I don't think the Seahawks are all that amazing, and here we go again with me hating on the Seahawks, I guess. Just everybody says all these things about the Cardinals, and they're always like, oh, well, the Cardinals haven't really beaten anybody good. The Seahawks win last week was against who? The New Orleans Saints, the same team you crapped on the Cardinals for beating.
Well, but the Seattle dismantled the Saints.
That's true.
The Cardinals
that is very
let them hang
true.
around.
That is very true, but you also got to remember that was Week 1 Arizona versus now Arizona. I feel like Arizona could definitely do similar things. All that being said, though, I'm still going with the Seattle Seahawks in this football game. I think the Seahawks are the much better football team on paper. And a game like this comes down to the defenses, and a defense without Garrett Williams now and Max Melton, who's also on IR in the secondary for Arizona, trying to go up against Jackson Smith-Njigba. He's going to have a good game. And then Kenny Walker, who played really good last week against a pretty weak front seven that we saw Christian McCaffrey really dismantle in the third and fourth quarters of that last game. I expect a team that actually has a functioning quarterback that doesn't have one leg like Mac Jones, who's also a backup quarterback, to be able to go out there and win them this football game. So go ahead and give me the Seahawks 24-21. As if you want Owen's predictions for his scores all around the NFL this week, not just the winning team, but the scores as well, please check another video on his channel down below on the YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed already, you should totally subscribe to the channel, because what are you even doing? If you like football, you will like this channel, so go ahead and subscribe.
Just hit 700, so shout out to Jason for that.
Yeah, shout out to Jason for number 700. Love it. Moving on to the next game in Dublin, Ireland. The Steelers are at home against the Minnesota Vikings. Carson Wentz led this team to a dominating win against the Cincinnati Bengals last week. This time taking on a much tougher defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers defense that is looking to continue their own little thing going on there after a pretty insane week of football from their defense last week against New England. Multiple stops right at the 5-ish yard line.
Right, and goal line pretty much.
Pretty much happened so many times. A few fumbles there from the Patriot offense. Will the Steelers be able to replicate that, or will the Vikings replicate their success on offense, and who gets the win overseas?
I gotta say, for these away games that are in different countries, I always feel so bad for the team that is designated as the home team, because it's technically an away game for both of these teams. So I really wish the NFL could change something with that, just so both teams could be listed as an away team. If they could ever do that, I don't know how it would work in the schedules and everything like that. But for this game, sure, the Steelers are a lot tougher of an opponent than the Bengals defense is, but one thing that kind of stands out to me a little bit in this one is the Steelers at the Patriots go all the way down the field, time and time again. They were just keep getting turnovers lit far down the field, which really was the reason why the Steelers ended up winning that game, because their offense wasn't the greatest last week, but it was certainly good enough to win the game. And then for the Vikings, Isaiah Rodgers had the game of his life last week against the Bengals, and their defense was absolutely ferocious the entire game, although it didn't even feel like the Bengals could hold on to the ball to save their life in that one either. Offense was efficient, of course, definitely had help from the defense too, with 2 defensive touchdowns and a couple fumbles as well. But I'm going to have to go with the Minnesota Vikings in this one. I just cannot trust the Steelers at all because of Aaron Rodgers, and because the defense has been kind of inconsistent too to start the season. It's not how I thought it was going to play out. And the Vikings defense is looking as good as ever right now. The offense last week for them didn't make too many mistakes, but again, it was against the Bengals defense, so we'll see how they fare against a bit of a tougher opponent in the Steelers defense, so we'll see how that plays out. But I cannot trust Rodgers against the Vikings defense. And we saw it last year too when he was on the Jets against the Vikings in another away country game too, funny enough. But give me Carson Wentz and the Vikings to take down Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers in Ireland.
Yeah, I'm going to have to side with you here, and it's for several different points here. Both teams' defenses played exceptional last week, and arguably the 2 best defenses in the league last weekend, with the Vikings and the Steelers both playing well. The only difference I have, though, is the Steelers allowed they allowed the Patriots to drive all the way down the field several times. And we're talking about near inches away from that one fumble being a touchdown for New England and the game flipping completely in a different direction. Or the interception where Drake May threw it right to Nichols in the end zone too. So you're thinking about those kinds of plays and that kind of a defense versus a Minnesota Vikings team that barely let them get across midfield the entire day. And then on top of that, if you're talking about from a consistency standpoint, right now the Vikings have one of the most consistently good defenses in the league, at least to start the season. And you're also talking about a team that had Sam Darnold last year and won 14 games, and everybody will be like, oh, well, they have Carson Wentz at quarterback. They won 14 games with Sam Darnold last year. I think they can win one game in Dublin, Ireland against the Pittsburgh Steelers in consistent defense with Carson Wentz at quarterback, especially after the game that he played last week. He didn't play exceptional, but he played that game manager role just like Sam Darnold did, and it shows that this is a Vikings team that can succeed with a lot of different guys under that quarterback spot. And I think for that reason alone, I think it's going to be a little bit more defensive of the game. But go ahead and give me the Vikings here in Dublin. I think it's going to be a 21-14 Minnesota Viking win on the road, if you will, as we move along back to the United States of America. In Atlanta.
We do need the AI's picks.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Brian too. Actually.
Yeah. So for the first couple picks, Cardinals and Seahawks. The Cardinals are the pick from the AI, and Brian picks Seattle to win that game.
So AI lone wolfing the first game of the week.
Lone wolfing the first game. And then next up, we all go with Minnesota in that game.
I don't like that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't appear as though it is a good idea. But as we move along to the number 3 game in Atlanta, Georgia, the Falcons back home to take on the Washington Commanders. Still no Jaden Daniels as of right now. We could see him make his return to the lineup in this game. It's not out of the question. But this is going to be an interesting game, especially after the ass whooping that the Falcons took last week. Called it to everybody at home hating on me for picking the Panthers.
Including me.
Yes, including you. As the Carolina Panthers pulled off one of the craziest upsets in my lifetime. And that's being honest. Just like 30-0 shellacking is nuts to me. Like everybody was counting out the Panthers. They were like 31 or 32 in everybody's podcasts and power rankings, pardon. And so because of that, it's just like you see them put up 30 and give up nothing, especially with a defense that's apparently really, really bad, according to a lot of people. They really showed up and they surprised a lot of people 2 days ago, as they really made their mark. Either way, though, we'll get to the Panthers soon enough. But the Falcons-Commanders, a big game here between two young quarterbacks, Michael Penix and maybe Jaden Daniels if he comes back, or a rematch for Marcus Mariota, again, back-to-back weeks playing against the team that he used to play for, which would be kind of crazy to think about as well. Who do you think wins this game? Do the Falcons bounce back after an ugly loss to Carolina, or does Washington win another game with potentially Marcus Mariota at the helm?
You know, it takes a special kind of bad to lose 30-0 to the Carolina Panthers. So give me the Washington Commanders to win this football game. Jaden Daniels or not. Marcus Mariota looked really good last week for Washington, even though it was against the Raiders. But still, got to give him his flowers. He looked really good. Really, the whole team looked good, too. And they were kind of putting it to Vegas for majority of that game until the fourth quarter when a couple garbage time points were scored and things like that. But then for the Falcons, Penix did not look good at all. He looked really, really bad, which if you are a Falcons fan, like if I was a Falcons fan, that performance would definitely concern me a little bit. It is early into his second season, didn't play all of his rookie year, so obviously you're not going to entirely give up on him after one bad performance. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on, that is for sure. But it's just it's a tough situation for me just to see the Falcons kind of coming out on this one just because, again, of their performance last week. I could see them rebounding. It could definitely happen, but I don't know. It's just kind of tough to see right now, and I feel like the Commanders are kind of riding the wave right now of, having the backup in there, feeling like they can't lose right now. But give me the Commanders to win this one here against the Falcons here.
Yeah, I really think that the Falcons are kind of cooked at this point. And I didn't mean to pull this bad voodoo on them or whatever you might think. But it really does not look good, especially after last week. And I think the formula to beat Atlanta has now officially been released, if you will, because realistically, if you stop Drake London on the receiving game and you really mitigate that run game with Bijan and force Michael Penix to throw the football, they really aren't good. They really are not, and the Panthers literally proved that so easily last week. All they had to do was shut down the offensive running game, which is easy when you got Derrick Brown in the middle of that defense, and then everything else is just completely terrible from the Atlanta Falcons side of the ball. I don't think it'll be nearly as bad this weekend, though. I think that the Falcons will bounce back, at least in some capacity, but I still have to side with the Washington Commanders in this game. Go ahead and give me the Falcons to take another loss here, 27-23 at home. I think it'll be an interesting game. It's going to be one of those back-and-forth ones. And as of right now, I think that Marcus Mariota will be the quarterback. Yeah. So I think that's how this game stays close for a lot of it, too. So go ahead and give me them, as the AI has its upset of the week this week.
Ooh.
As the Falcons beating Washington.
Okay.
And
it's
Brian
better than the Saints winning.
actually has a good standstill, and he's also going with Washington like us.
Okay.
So right. Brian won't go nuts on that either.
Brian almost scared me a little bit. Well, you did with that.
No, Brian, you didn't do it. But as we move into the next game, Out with Russell Wilson, in with Jackson Dart. If you learned anything from my Madden franchise, this is a terrible mistake. But
Jackson in the regular season now.
Yeah, it's true. Jackson Dart is officially the starter in New Jersey, as the Giants will be at home for this game. A home debut for Jackson Dart against the LA Chargers. And that is not exactly the greatest news in the world if you're a Giants fan. 3-0 Chargers with one of the best defenses in the league as of right now, especially with Jim Harbaugh as the head coach as well, who's never lost to a rookie quarterback since when? 2013 Russell Wilson.
Oh, no.
When he was the 49ers head coach.
Hey, that could break the trend.
The
starting trend and the ending of the trend.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Wouldn't that be insane? But who do you have winning this football game? Will the Giants pull off a sneaky upset with the rookie quarterback, or do the Chargers continue their flawless run through 2025?
You know, it'd be a really cool story, especially with that stat that you mentioned that Jackson Dart came out here and actually won, because, you know, they're both the quarterbacks on the Giants. But give me the LA Chargers to win this game. We're not going to be dilly-dallying here. Obviously, Giants made the right move to finally bench Russell Wilson. There was some speculation, though, of people saying, well, maybe you should wait till the week after just because you're playing against one of the best defenses in the league. But, I mean, you got to throw him in there at some point. You're going to have a tough opponent at some point. So might as well just kind of rip the Band-Aid off of him getting his debut in and just get it out of the way, get it done with. Especially with Chargers not having Khalil Mack still. I mean, that helps a little bit, you know. Right. But, again, Chargers, one of the best defenses in the league against a rookie quarterback. I mean, that's just a mixture for disaster if you're a Giants fan. But the Giants fans are certainly familiar with disaster. So, I mean, anything is better than Russell Wilson, I feel like, at this point for him right now. But the Chargers look good against the Broncos last week, continuing to impress. There's no reason to not pick them to win this game right now. So give me the Chargers to win this one against the Giants.
Yeah, my thought process on this game is I think if you start Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart, the result's the same either way to me. So why not let the rookie get some reps in and get some chances? So go ahead and give me the Chargers in my lock of the week right here. I just think that this makes so much sense for the LA Chargers to get a win here. This is the freest lock to me, and I said this last week with the Packers and Browns, which hopefully this doesn't end up the same.
Oh, no.
But I do think that this is a pretty good lock to have, especially with the Giants starting Jackson Dart, who's a rookie. That nervousness is going to probably get to him a little bit here. I do expect them to be okay. I expect them to have some flashes, kind of similar to Cam Ward's debut against a tough Broncos defense. I think he'll be okay, and I do think the Chargers walk out of this one with a pretty easy win, though. 24-10, give me the Chargers to win, as AI and Brian, in a clean sweep, all picking the LA Chargers. Woo! As we move along to the 0-3 Texans and the 0-3 Titans.
The 0-3 Bowl.
In a pretty interesting matchup. One team that a lot of people thought were going to be a lot better, and one team that, it sounds about right as of right now. So, realistically, this is probably the most important game of the season for the Houston Texans, because if you lose to a team like the Titans, who's still in that rebuilding phase, and you go to 0-4, what do you even consider doing in that situation? If I'm DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans, I don't want to find out. So let's see what happens in this game. Do you have Cam Ward getting his first win in the NFL, or do the Strouds finally turn things around in Week 4?
I mean, I hate to say it, but I can really see a world of the Titans end up pulling this one off, considering how Houston's offense has played these first 3 weeks, because it has been absolutely god-awful the first 3 weeks. But the Texans' defense has played absolutely phenomenal these first 3 weeks, too. So it's like, what's going on here? Like, all the offense really needs to do is be serviceable, and they could probably have, 2 wins right now in the season. Yeah. But I got to go with the Texans here in this one. I mean, both teams being 0-3, I mean, it's not like you said, if the Texans start the season 0-4, what's going to, that's a little concerning. Are we going to have to consider tearing things down pretty soon? Oof, that'd be tough situation to be in if you're a Houston fan. But for Tennessee, too, I believe they're changing their play caller on offense. Isn't it going to be their quarterback coach now?
Yeah, it's going to be their quarterback coach.
It's still not the offensive coordinator calling plays. That's I find that a little fascinating to me.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
We'll see what ends up happening with
so
that.
I guess it makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I guess. But again, I mean, I can kind of see either way going for this one. But, I mean, if you're Houston, this is an absolute must-win. You have to get something. Whether you look good or you look terrible, you got to come out with a win in this one. You really do. So
a win's a win in this moment for you.
Yeah,
as
really.
Desperate as they are. I do think this is going to be a very interesting game, and I think that, big shocker here, it's going to be very defensive in this kind of a football game, especially with a new play caller on offense for the Titans. I guess at this point, we might as well just let the defensive coordinator call offensive plays instead of the offensive coordinator at this rate.
Right.
But I do think that this is a game where I could see either team winning. And with my own little bit of a coin flip here, I'm going with my upset of the week in the Tennessee Titans to get their first win under Cam Ward in that offense, 17-16. Oof. I think they're going to win this game for the simple fact that the Titans' defense is going to be that much better. And a lot of people have complained about the Titans' secondary to this point in the season. That's been the weakest link for them. But if you think about it, in a game like this, if we saw it last week with the Jaguars, where the Jaguars proved this too. Last week, their front seven was really good against the Texans' offensive line and stuff like that, so they didn't have to worry about their leaky secondary being a problem, except for the one Nico Collins touchdown. And so, for that reason alone, I think that the biggest issue for a game like this is, are you going to be able to keep Jeffrey Simmons and Devondre Sweat and all the other guys, Harold Landry, everybody on that defense, even the rookie Oladejo, are you going to be able to keep all of them from not getting to Stroud at least a couple times? I don't think they can. And I think that's going to end up leading to some drive killers. They're going to kick a few field goals, and it's going to cost them a football game. And I really do think that the Tennessee Titans are about to pull off the biggest upset in the Cam Ward era so far, obviously, because it's their first win. But I do think that they're going to get this job done in this game. You're on the road, which is the only reason I was a little nervous to pick this one. But I do think that the Strouds are going to go to 0-4. An interesting start if that is a reality soon, as I am the crazy one, as all you three are going with the Houston Texans. Let's see if I can pull another upset off after last week.
Just with your score, 17-16, all I can think of is Fairbairn lining up for the kick, and it's blocked!
Yeah, literally. Like a missed
just waiting for it.
Missed field goal at the end or something.
Yeah, how last week was? Crazy.
Yeah, speaking of that, Bucs-Eagles is next on the slate. Two teams that had blocked field goals, just different ends of blocked field goals.
Yeah.
The Bucs almost choked against the Jets after having what seemed to be a pretty convincing win under their hand. And for the Eagles, they looked to be completely dead to rights. Ironically enough, at one point, the scores were the exact same, 26-7. So That is a pretty interesting thing to think about. But I do think that this is another really important game in the long term with the Bucs and the Eagles both in the NFC, both two of the better teams as of right now, especially with the Rams in there too. And I don't really know, like Lions, Packers too, but like after that, there's really nobody else. So this is a pretty big matchup for these two teams. The Eagles just keep finding ways to win, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand. Like, I understand you're a good football team, but man, there's like no way to beat them. They had them dead to rights, and they found a way, and I just don't know how to pick against them in that spot. So maybe a little bit of foreshadowing there. But do you think that Baker Mayfield gets the job done at home, or do the Eagles win another one?
Well, they're defending champs, and until someone beats them, they're still going to be that team to beat. So give me the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. And I don't know if it's like just how I'm feeling about it, but a lot of people are saying how impressive Baker Mayfield has been through 3 weeks. From my perspective, it's the Buccaneers have scraped past each of these first 3 games, including one against the Jets where they almost lost that game, which does scare me a bit for the Buccaneers, but it's an entirely different feeling when you're looking at the Eagles because they've almost lost a couple games too, but they've been finding ways to win as well. But when they're the defending champs, you know, it's kind of a different feel to it. It's going to have that different feeling to it. But you gotta go with the Eagles in this one. I don't really know how else to word it. I mean, until someone beats them, they're the team to beat. So give me Philly.
I agree 110%. It's just after last week, what we saw from them coming back and winning that game, I don't see a way where they lose. I can't see a way. Like, they should have lost. That game should have been a loss. Obviously, the blocked field goal at the end, we never know like what would have happened on that kick. Would he have missed? Would he have made it? But all I can say for sure is with the way this Philadelphia Eagles team has been, with the way that their season's gone, they're not... Like, they might be one of the hardest teams to beat like in NFL history as of right now to start a season. Like I've never seen a team this difficult to beat since like maybe the '07 Patriots.
Oh,
like yeah, I genuinely like at this point they've played tough teams too. They've played like every week's been against a tough team at least decently. Like the Cowboys, I understand that's not that tough of a game and stuff like that. But the last two against Kansas City and then of course again this week they played the Rams, who were like in my opinion the second best team in the NFC last year. And so for that reason, it's just you have to decide sometime at one point or another what you're going to do in that spot. And if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles or the Tampa Bay Bucks in this game, which team do I trust more? I trust the Eagles because they find ways to win even when it doesn't seem possible. And that is the definition of a championship caliber team. That's a definition of a Super Bowl champion team that won the Super Bowl last season. And until proven wrong, they have this thing. I don't see them losing it with the way they're playing right now, so go ahead and give me the Philadelphia Eagles 24-20. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I think it's going to be close, but I just don't trust the Baker Mayfield Bucks to win this one. Brian, however, does trust the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucks are his lone wolf of the week, I guess, because this is not his upset. And the AI is also picking Philly. So
interesting.
Now the AI and Brian both have a lone wolf of the week. Maybe we need one. Let's find out if we get one soon enough as we move into our next game. Probably the snoozer of the week if it wasn't already the Texans and Titans. Patriots-Panthers in a pretty gross matchup. Do you think New England's going to win this game at home, or do the Panthers continue to run away with some games here back-to-back?
You know, as a professional Carolina Panthers hater, I gotta say, you guys did play well last week. You deserved the win. You earned it. You went out there and you got it. So congratulations to the Carolina Panthers. But you're not going to win 2 games in a row. The New England Patriots to win this football game. The Patriots moved the ball on offense. If it wasn't for Ramondre Stevenson's 2 fumbles at the goal line, the Patriots would have beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. And I got to kind of ride with that kind of hot hand of the Patriots, knowing they were that close to winning that football game. They were right there. So I think they're going to go out there this week, and I think they're going to put belt to you-know-what and get this win here in Week 4. But Panthers, Bryce Young, looked good last week. Don't really see it too much in stretches of them being good. So kind of got another test here this week against the Mike Vrabel-led Patriots. So let's see it, Carolina. Can you win 2 games in a row, or are you going to suck again? Let's find out.
Well, this is one of those games for me where I could see either team winning again, but with how the Panthers have been, I just can't trust them twice, man. It's like one of those things where like you go in and you win you go to the casino and you bet blackjack, you bet all your money on like one hand, and then you win all your money. You're not gonna go back and bet all your money again. You're just gonna stay with what you got because you know you got lucky the first time, and that's exactly how I feel with Carolina right now. So no offense to you Carolina Panthers fans out there, but this is a completely different offense from last week where you're shifting from a team that was run-heavy to a team that's probably going to be pass-heavy, especially after Stevenson sucked last week. They're probably going to be more pass-heavy with the offense at least. And on top of that, which defense is better in my opinion? I think it's the Patriots defense too. And then it comes down to coaching as well. Which team's coaching is better? Mike Vrabel's a lot better of a coach than Dave Canales, and also the Patriots are at home. So almost everything is in favor of New England in this game. I do think it'll be somewhat close. I think it'll be close all the way to the end. 24-17. Give me the New England Patriots to win this football game. As both Brian and the AI side with us. Another clean sweep as the Panthers get crapped on by all of us.
Good.
And I'm sure that it's going to happen again as another AFC East and NFC South matchup is up next. It's the Buffalo Bills and the New Orleans Saints in Buffalo. This might be the saddest game of the season. But, Bills Saints. Does Spencer Rattler have what it takes to pull off an insane upset, or do the Buffalo Bills keep cruising?
You know, you're saying it's going to be the saddest game of the year. I'm hoping it's going to be one of the best games of the year in terms of how well the Bills play.
Yeah, I think it's going to be sad for New Orleans.
Again, I hope so. But
this might be the last
obviously,
game with Rattler.
Homer pick. Give me the Buffalo Bills to win this game. Obviously, 16.5-point favorites is absolutely ridiculous for this. But, I mean, I guess it makes sense. The Saints continuing to not look good, and they're continuing to look worse as the weeks go on. As the Bills had a little bit of a scare against Miami last week, but they ended up still getting the job done. on Thursday Night Football. And plus, you didn't even mention it, the Bills have extra time to prepare for this game. That's if you even need extra time to prepare for the Saints, but,
You're saying all this, and it's scaring me for like this game to be like 25 to like 27 to 24.
One of these weeks, we're gonna see a game that the Bills should win. We're like, oh yeah, Bills got it, and then we're gonna come on.
You're the one talking.
We're gonna come on this show next or some other week in the future. We're gonna be sitting here and be like, how did the Bills lose this game? I'm really hoping this isn't gonna be the week because we should beat the New Orleans Saints. We'll see what happens, though. Sunday at 1 o'clock, Andrew Catalan on the call for that one. So
okay.
We'll see what happens with that one, but give me the Buffalo Bills to take care of business.
It's not going to matter who's on the call if you're at the game. But Bills-Saints, I do think is going to be a very not interesting game, to say the least. I don't know what to say about the Saints, man. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean, but, like, this might be the last Spencer Rattler start. I think they have to turn to Shuck if they lose this game, just because you haven't won a game yet. You haven't played super tough teams either. To be honest, you've played teams like the Cardinals who aren't that great and stuff. And who'd they play in week 2? I think they played somebody pretty easy in week 2. Not necessarily easy, but they played a decent team in week 2.
They played the 49ers.
Yeah, but that's without Purdy.
Yep.
So I realistically think that you could have had at least 2 of those wins. And, I mean, at this point, what do you got to lose? Throw in Tyler Shuck, get him some reps. And
it's like the Giants situation almost.
Not really, though, because it's almost worse where, like, because with Tyler Shuck, you don't move back up into the first round to get Jackson Dart if you don't believe that Dart's your future. Right. But in this situation, they don't know if Shuck's the future. You throw Shuck into the fire right now and just give him some chances to start, and if he looks good, then you don't need to draft a quarterback. You just need to build the offense around Shuck. But if he looks terrible and you get a top 3-5 pick and Nussmeier or Arch Manning or whoever the fuck else is there, take the quarterback and just get rid of Shuck, like Josh Rosen's situation. Just a lot less magnified because he wasn't a first-round pick, let alone top 10. But I just think that, like, it's one of those situations for me where you have to eventually give him the chance to start, because if you don't, then you got a lot going on. And I think that this is going to be the game that decides that. Anyway, though, Buffalo puts belt to ass at home, especially with a much better team. 31-7, Saints get bent over on the road. As I'm happy for the Saints fans that this is on the road, because I'd hate to be a Saints fan and have to, like, have season tickets, and this is one of the games that I'm obligated to go to by buying season tickets.
Yeah.
Let alone buying season tickets on a season where you know your team's not going to be good.
Right.
Anyway, though, moving on to the next game, a pretty interesting one to a lot of people. The Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns. The Browns pulled off one of the craziest upsets last week as they shocked the entire football world, taking down the Green Bay Packers, not only with a blocked field goal, but a 55-yard game winner, longest of his career from Andre Schmitz, former Syracuse Orange, by the way.
Oh, my gosh.
Love that guy.
Not even in Syracuse.
Hey, but he's wearing an orange helmet.
Oh,
Poetic.
yeah.
It's poetic. It was amazing. Anyway, though, back to reality. Now you're playing the Lions, and the Lions are not going to be as easy of a pushover, especially considering they know that they just won against the Green Bay Packers. So they're going to obviously prepare a lot more than the Green Bay Packers did, clearly. Do you think that the Lions win this game, or do the Browns pull off another upset on the road?
Well, I know some of the players on the Browns are thinking, hey, might have a chance, beat an NFC North team last week, just do it again this week, but they're going to lose against the Detroit Lions.
It's not the Bears or the Vikings.
Yeah, it's the Packers and the Lions. So if the Browns somehow come out in this 2-week span by beating the Packers and beating the Lions, that would be a very impressive 2 weeks for the Cleveland Browns. But Lions did God's work last night on Monday Night Football, defeating the Baltimore Ravens. Because now we got a really great game that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But Lions looked really good offensively. Had a couple hiccups throughout the game, but overall looked really good. Defense, I thought, was really impressive. Had 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson, which is hard enough to do considering how much he can scramble in that backfield. So really impressive showing from the Lions defense. And then the Browns, again, we kind of mentioned it. Their offense didn't do much, but they didn't have to because the defense absolutely took over that game. So the Browns really did kind of escape that game, but they escaped it with a win, which is the important part. But Lions should win this game. If they don't, all hell will probably break loose, especially in Cleveland. But could be maybe an interesting game, but Lions should be able to win this one.
Yeah, I'm having the Lions do the same thing the Bills are doing with the belt to ass thing. This is not going to be a good game for you Lions fans out there. Enjoy it while it lasts, because this is a pretty big loss for the Browns to me. 35-13. I have the Browns losing big in this game. I do think that they could put up some more points, maybe in like garbage time, but I just don't see them winning this football game. There's not a chance in hell. As I forgot to mention last game, but the Bills Saints, both Brian and AI picked Buffalo.
Figured.
That is also the AI's lock of the week is the Bills.
Ah, okay.
So there's that. And then as for the opposite side here, this game, we all picked Detroit as well. So another big and important game, I guess, to say the least, for these guys. As we take a look at the next few games. The next one coming up is the 49ers and the Jaguars, which somehow, the San Francisco 49ers are favored to win this game. And no disrespect to the 49ers, because they've been okay without Purdy and stuff, but if Purdy doesn't play, and especially now without Nick Bosa, how the hell are they favored to win this game against the Jaguars team that, if Jake Browning didn't come in and play amazing, they would be 3-0.
Yeah.
I think this is an interesting game, to say the least. Do you think the 49ers win this one at home, or do the Jaguars continue their impressive start to the 2025 season?
You know, it's a shame that the 49ers are favored in this one, because I could have made this the upset of the week, but I'm going to have to go with the San Francisco 49ers to win this football game. 49ers, like you said, somehow, some way, they're 3-0 in the season with all the injuries they've had, and now, like you said, they don't have Nick Bosa anymore. And I think Brock Purdy will start this week. I'm keeping that in mind for this one. I think he will be good to go for this one, because if they don't have Purdy and they have to rely on either a one-legged Mac Jones or whoever else.
Martinez, sorry.
Yeah, if he plays, they're doomed. But I don't know, like the Jaguars, I'm really not getting a good feel on them right now. Sure, they're 2-1 right now, but they struggled mightily against the Houston Texans team that is now 0-3. They barely escaped that one with a win.
Though.
It's a good defense, but still, barely winning the game when the offense has been kind of lackluster for Houston too. I don't know how I really feel about it. Then their only other win is against the Carolina Panthers, and then they had a game against the Cincinnati Bengals where they definitely could have won that game. They should have won that game, but they couldn't capitalize of all the interceptions off of Jake Browning.
And then you're saying this is going to be another week, but they lose to a backup quarterback.
Yeah, very well could be.
That'd be kind of funny.
But again, I do think Brock Purdy will be starting for this game.
Right.
But I don't know. I can definitely see the Jaguars winning this game. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, like you said, and like you think the Jaguars will win. I'm guessing that's going to be your pick, but we'll find out here in a second. But I don't know. I just really do not trust the Jaguars right now, and I haven't been trusting the Niners either just because of injuries, but they've still been winning football games. So I feel like that's the big thing to me. So, and the Niners are at home. Jaguars got to go cross country, that whole trip debacle thing right there. So give me the Niners to win this one and go to 4-0 to start their season.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're kind of ironic with the way that you were talking about the Jaguars only beating the Panthers, and then last week the Houston Texans, who haven't been very good this season. Who are the 49ers ones against?
Panthers, Saints, and Cardinals.
Panthers.
Did they play the Panthers, or did they not play the Panthers?
They did not play the Panthers.
Who's the other team they played then?
Blanking. I know they played the Saints.
They played the Saints, the Cardinals. It had been their Week 1 matchup. Let's see here.
Wasn't it like
the Seahawks?
The Seahawks.
And that was when they were healthy, though.
Yeah. So they were healthy and they beat the Seahawks. That's okay. That's an acceptable win because they're a solid team. Then they beat the Saints, who are probably going to be the worst team in the NFL this year, or at least bottom 3 in my opinion. And then you beat the Cardinals, whose only 2 wins were against the Saints and the Panthers.
Yeah.
So you beat a team that was only 2-0 because of the 2 teams they played. So we don't know how good the Cardinals are either, really. And on top of that, you almost lost. And then if you factor in the situation at hand, even if Brock Purdy plays in this game, he's not going to be 100% healthy. They're going to have to rely on CMC for most of the game. And the Jaguars' defense, as of right now, is top 10 in the league in rushing yards allowed per game. Which, going against Christian McCaffrey and the way that they've been running the ball and trying to use him pretty much as the only option on offense, really, we're talking about a team right now where they're not going to be able to do anything against the Jaguars defense for most of this game. And then if you look at the Jaguars offense that struggled last week against one of the best defenses in the league, in my opinion, in Houston's defense, when they're healthy, they're going up against a Nick Bosa-less team with Fred Warner not playing 100%, dealing with a hamstring injury. And they don't really have that many secondary pieces. Brian Thomas Jr. should be able to finally have a good game this week, and if he doesn't, I'll genuinely be surprised. You'll be able to run the ball because you're not looking at a healthy Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. You're looking at a half-healthy Fred Warner and a not healthy at all Nick Bosa. I just don't see a world where the 49ers are going to play that well. The only things they have in terms of an advantage for this game are the home field advantage and the head coaching matchup. And in a game like this where it's a situation like it is, I don't think that's going to matter for them. I think they're going to lose this game personally. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting one, but I have a 28-17 Jaguars win. I have a double-digit win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. A statement win of sorts for the Jaguars. As who would have thought coming into the season that it'd be between the Jaguars and Colts for the AFC South after 3 weeks and now maybe 4. As we are completely torn on this because the AI is picking San Francisco alongside you, and Brian sides with the smart guy, Thomas.
Whoa.
As he picks the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I was kind of hoping Brian would be on my side, not the AI.
Yeah. No, you guys are in the same boat. Same boat you've been in all year. As we move into another NFC West, AFC South matchup. The more intriguing one to me, for sure. The LA Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. The Rams are a 2-1 team that almost was 3-0 last week. Yeah. Almost doesn't count, though. And they are going up against the 3-0 Daniel Jones-led Indianapolis Colts. A interesting team, to say the least, as well. As this is one of those situations where the Rams are a very good team in the NFC. The Colts are emerging as an up-and-coming team from the AFC. Which team gets the win? Do the Colts suffer their first loss on the road, or do the Rams fall to 2-2?
This is my bold take for this game. This is going to be the game where the wheels begin to fall off for the Indianapolis Colts. Give me the LA Rams to win this game over the Indianapolis Colts. We always see these teams year in and year out. There's always that one team we think is going to be bad throughout the season. They look so great the first weeks of the season. Like we mentioned last week, I think, with the New Orleans Saints, how they started off 2-0 and the wheels fell off after that. A couple other teams, too, like the Cardinals have done it
even
before.
Even the Steelers last season.
Steelers, too.
The Steelers are going to be pretty
Quite
good.
A few teams, and it is early in the season, so this is right around where you'll see those teams really begin to show themselves. They have those fake good records, and they kind of start falling off the tracks a little bit as the season goes along. I think this is going to be the game for the Colts. This is, I think, their toughest opponent. I would have maybe said the Denver Broncos, but the Broncos kind of haven't been playing up to expectations thus far. So I think this is going to be their toughest matchup here in LA against a Rams team that almost beat the defending champs. So good luck to Indiana Jones in this one to see if he can lasso a LA Ram. We'll see if it can happen, but I'm going to side with the Rams here on this one.
I do not think this is the fall of the Daniel Jones empire, but I do think that this is going to be a Colts loss. I like the Rams in this game. 27-20 is my final score here. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting game. It's going to be back and forth. It'll be close for most of it. The one thing that has me a little scared right now is the Rams' defense, rushing-wise, is not that great, at least against the run. And Jonathan Taylor is literally the best running back in the league as of today in terms of not only fantasy points, although that is very important to a lot of people, but more importantly, in the league right now, he has the most rushing yards, which is a insane thing to think about. So in a game like this, I just have to side with the Rams. They're a little bit more experienced. They have a lot better of a offensive firepower, I guess, in terms of they have a lot of different options. They can go to Kyren Williams. They can throw it to Puka Nacua. They have Devontae Adams. Whereas on the offensive side of the ball for the Colts, it's really just kind of by committee. Michael Pittman has a good game here, and then next week it's Josh Downs, and the week after it's Tyler Warren. Hopefully it's Tyler Warren. But either way, though, I do think that the Rams are going to come away with a win in this one, 27-20. As Brian and the AI are split, just like we are, again a 50-50. The AI picks the Rams with us. And Brian, not a lone wolf, because this is Brian's upset of the week. The Colts winning against the Rams.
All right, Brian.
Interesting.
I like that one. That's a good one.
I think
like
that's one that I think could. It's similar to how I felt with the Titans and the Texans. I thought about this one for a little bit. And I just can't pick against the Rams in a game like this, coming off a loss like last week. An emotional loss is what I like to call it, because teams coming off emotional losses where like it's a game they knew they should have won, they come out angry, and they come out a lot better than their usual self. And that's not to say the Rams are a bad team usually. It's just to show that they're probably going to come out even better than what they already were, and I think that's going to lead to a Rams win.
Mm-hmm.
Moving into the next game, a pretty big snoozer, Raiders and Bears in the 4 o'clock window. Do you think the Raiders get their first win? Is this their first? No, they have a win.
1-2.
Sorry. Do you think they get a win in this game, or do you think Caleb Williams and the Bears keep that train rolling after last week?
I think the only big decider that I have to determine this game is the sense of potential false hope or actual hope I got from the Chicago Bears last week against the Dallas Cowboys defense. Their offense looked really good. Like, it looked how it should be looking last week against Dallas, but their defense for the Cowboys has not looked great so far this season. They looked all right week 1 against the Eagles, but since then have not looked good whatsoever. So I don't know if I'm kind of getting like a little bit of like false hope if the Bears just look good because they played a team like the Cowboys, or are they finally starting to put things together? And when you look at the other side of things with the Raiders, they're not putting something together right now. They just lost to a team with a backup quarterback, even though it was the Washington Commanders. But didn't they give up over 40 points on defense?
Well, no.
Or like high 30s?
It was
somewhere.
like 31, I think, because
31?
Jalen Lane, the rookie out of Virginia Tech, he got a punt return touchdown. Which
Okay.
I know that pains you for me to say, like his his name and where he's from, college-wise.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
But
fine. It's for the pod. It's for the pod.
yeah, it's for the pod. Got to bring out that ball knowledge, folks.
But, for the Raiders, too, offensively, they got garbage time points, too, in that one. The deep ball they had to Tucker, I believe his name, Trey Tucker.
Trey Tucker, who
Yeah.
literally led the league in receiving yards this week, which on FanDuel...
Well, thanks to that, 50-yard pass.
Yeah, on FanDuel it was 1 in 2,700 odds, so $1 won you $270.
Wow.
And somebody bet $50 on him to do that and won a lot of money. So shout out to whoever did that.
Shout out to whoever that random dude is. But
ball knowledge.
Give me the Chicago Bears to win this game. I'm hoping for their sake this is where they turn things around, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with the Bears in this game. I almost said the Raiders, but I do think the Bears are the better team in this game. 24-16 is my final score prediction. There's not too much to kind of dive into for me in this game. I think the Bears are starting to put it together. I think that one thing that a lot of people aren't really giving them credit for that win against Dallas is Dallas does have a good secondary with DaRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs. I think they have a solid secondary, and obviously they don't have a great pass rush, but they have a good enough secondary to where I think that it's important. So I do think that the Bears are starting to find the wheels here, and against the Raiders team that doesn't have a good secondary at all, I think you should be able to get that one done. As both Brian and the AI are picking the Bears to win this game.
Kind of scare me again.
As we move into the final 4 games here, the Chiefs and the Ravens. As a diehard Bills fan, it makes me the happiest man on planet fucking Earth to say one of these teams will have to be 1-3 after this week, unless they both collude against the odds of everything and decide to tie. I think this is going to be the interesting game that everybody tunes in for. Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh or Andy Reid. One of these two teams will be 1-3 after this week. Which one's 1-3 and which one is 2-2?
This game, as a Bills fan, just makes me so happy to see that we're not the team in this situation.
Yeah,
Instead,
we
it's the
literally
other
easily
two
could have
teams.
been.
We could have been, yeah, but for this game, I think, the team I'm going to be rooting for in this game, I'll say that I'm going to be rooting for the Baltimore Ravens to win this game because we already have the tiebreaker over Baltimore. We don't know about Kansas City yet, and so we'll kind of gonna see about that. But for this game, the way I'm kind of looking at this is the 2 losses that the Ravens have lost to. They lost to the Bills, even though they really easily could have beaten us, and the Detroit Lions, in which a game where I feel like you can make the argument that they could have won too, but point is, two really good football teams, and the Chiefs, with their 2 losses, one to the Chargers, one to the
Eagles.
Thank you. I was having a brain fart there.
2 really good teams as well.
2 really good teams as well. Their one win was against the Giants team that they let hang around for 3/4 of the football game, which scares me a lot for the Chiefs. But the Chiefs always are one of those teams that they're going to figure it out. They're going to find a way. And whether we like it or not, even if, let's say, they do lose this game, they'll probably find their way into the dance at the end of the year. So,
that's true.
But again, though, it's still going to be a really big game for seeding purposes, all that stuff. But give me the Baltimore Ravens to win this football game
shocked.
over the Chiefs. The Chiefs are kind of like, I've been seeing it. They've been struggling. I think their best game they had was against the Philadelphia Eagles, where they almost won that game, but they still ended up losing that one. But I don't like how their offense is looking. It's looking really broken right now. It's kind of, I guess, the good way to put it. You could say the same thing for the Ravens' defense, because what the hell's going on there? At least the Chiefs have somewhat an excuse why their offense isn't functioning well. It's because they're missing their top 2 receivers. But for the Ravens' defense, they really need a big bounce-back game, especially on the defensive side. I feel like this is your opportunity to do it, crazy enough as that is to say, against the Chiefs' offense. But, I mean, that's just kind of how it's been. Chiefs haven't been performing up to standards. We'll see if that continues this week. I have a funny feeling that the Chiefs might figure things out this week, but give me the Ravens in my, I guess, safer pick of the week.
I do not think that's a safer pick. I'm sorry. I picked the Kansas City
I knew you were going to do it.
And I only picked the Chiefs because
everyone
never, ever could I see the Chiefs 1-3. And it's the same reason I couldn't see them 0-3 last week. It's the same reason why I knew they were going to beat the Giants against all odds. And sure, they can keep it close with a team like the Giants, but they're similar to like the Bills, I feel like, where they'll keep it close against a team you don't expect them to. And then the next week, they'll literally just come out and they'll play as good as ever against a team like the Ravens or a team like the Bills. And they'll be like one of the best teams in the league on a consistent basis. And this is one of those games for me where you're playing against the Ravens, and the Ravens are at an all-time low in terms of confidence, at least in my opinion, especially that guy in the backfield, number 22, Derrick Henry, who's never fumbled this many times in a season. He's already fumbled 3 times this season, 1 in each game. I just have to say, for one reason and one reason only, the Chiefs win these games. Think back to like every single moment you thought the Chiefs might lose a game like this. Last year against the Bengals, they found a way to beat Cincinnati. Literally last year in the AFC Championship game against us, thought they had we thought we had them and we didn't. It's happened so many goddamn times, and for it to happen that many times and them to always find a way to win, I think they're going to find a way again. And I don't see a world... I don't care who catches the touchdown pass. Somebody's going to catch the touchdown pass that wins them this game. Somebody's going to find a way to make that defensive play, whether it's Trent McDuffie or some random fucking linebacker. They're going to find a way to make plays in this kind of a football game, and that's just what happens when you have an offensive-minded head coach like Andy Reid and a team as well-rounded as their team is. And this isn't to glaze the Chiefs, because I absolutely hate that, but... the Chiefs are a good football team, and they're not the most healthy or suspension-wise as well as everybody else, but what they are is competitive, especially against other teams like the Ravens. And in a game like this, Kansas City cannot lose this game, because if Kansas City loses this game, they might not even win the division. Because the Chiefs will be 1-3, and the Chargers could easily be 4-0 after this week because they play the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
That would literally be it. And then on top of that, the Chargers have the tiebreaker as of right now because they beat the Chiefs.
Still play each other one more time, though.
That's true, but that's only one game. They would have to have them lose at least 3 more.
Yeah, it's true.
It's an interesting little predicament there. And I think with the stakes like this, in moments like this, we all see Patrick Mahomes show up. And I hate to say that, and I hate to be that guy, but I'm a diehard Bills fan. I've seen this happen every freaking year in the playoffs.
I see it too!
And I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs in this game.
It's like one of those things, too.
I hate it.
It's one of those things where it's like, at some point, things aren't going to go the Chiefs' way every single year. It keeps happening every single year, but one of these years, something's got to, like, give, you know?
Yeah, last year in the Super Bowl.
They made it all the way to the Super Bowl, though, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's still not their year because they didn't win.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
annoying as that is. Let's move on.
Moving into the last little bit of that game, both AI and Brian picked Baltimore, so I'm a lone wolf in this game. As it's not my upset by any means. As we move into the final three games, the Sunday night football game, which would have been a lot better if CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons were both like going at it here because they kind of chirped each other a little bit. Cowboys-Packers, Micah Parsons returning to Big D already in Week 4 on Sunday Night Football in front of America. Packers were humiliated last week against the Cleveland Browns in a loss. Are they ready to hand that loss right back to the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones and a thank you, Jerry chant in AT&T Stadium?
Dune. This is my lock of the week. Give me the Green Bay Packers over
I
the
thought
Dallas
about this
Cowboys.
as my lock of the week because, again, emotional games. When you lose a game like you did last week where you didn't prepare enough or you thought you had an easy win against a team like Cleveland and you lost, when you come into a game like this, you're not going to be as like, oh, well, they suck. No, you're going to be like, yeah, we're going to put belt to ass this time because we know we're the better team.
Yeah,
and this is what that game is.
It's going to make me excited to see this game, too, to see the Cowboys get humiliated on national television.
Thank you, Jerry. And Jerry World's going to be so
That or
funny.
it's going to be F you, Jerry. It's going to be one of the two.
Yeah.
But
cast your bets now on FanDuel.
I feel like for a game like this, I will say, too, if anyone has George Pickens in their fantasy lineups, if the Cowboys are going to be playing behind for most of this game, and George Pickens is that wide receiver one because CeeDee
They'll
Lamb
find a
is
way to
out.
throw it to like Kevontae Turpin, or throw it to Jake Ferguson 14 times. Did you see that? He caught 14 passes last week against the Bears.
Yeah, so moral of the story: do not start George Pickens
Yeah, literally.
in fantasy, but.
Hand off to Javonte Williams.
This is a game that the Packers should win. It's a game that the Packers should win, but it's also a game that Dallas should show up for, considering what happened. Because they can't be made a mockery of like this. Because if they lose a game like this, they will be one of the biggest clowns of the NFL, even though they have been for the past 20-plus years. But even more so now if they lose this game. So give me the Packers to take care of business here, and Micah Parsons to have a big day against the Big D.
Yeah, I have the Micah Parsons-less Cowboys losing in this game. Micah Parsons is really that deciding factor in a game like this, and when you have a defense like the Packers have, and they've had all season, especially against a CeeDee Lamb-less fucking offense, too, on the other side of this game, it's not going to be pretty for Dallas. It's going to be 4 quarters of hell, and for Dak Prescott and his team trying to fight and claw their way into this kind of a game, it's not going to happen. Especially after last week's humiliating loss, like we mentioned. I just don't see a way Green Bay does not win this football game. I have a 24-14 win for the Green Bay Packers. They're going to humiliate them. And that doesn't sound like a humiliating score, but I just mean in the terms of winning this game, having it being convincing, and now having Micah Parsons on their side. I think this is humiliating. Moving into perhaps one of the worst Monday Night Football schedules of all time, we have the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. As before we get into that, the Packers are both the picks of AI and Brian, so we're all in a clean sweep there. Moving into the Monday night doubleheader.
There you go.
My bad.
You got it.
It's the Dolphins-Jets to start us off. Which of these two AFC East teams that is winless at this point gets their first win?
You're going to absolutely hate me when I'm about to say right here.
Oh, no.
I already know you're going to hate me, but sound the alarms. I have an upset alert on Monday Night Football.
Upset.
Dolphins are favored to win this game by 2.5 points. I think it's a good take to pick the New York Jets to win this football game. I really just didn't have a lot of matchups that had like a sizable margin for points that I was picking the opposite end for. So this was really one of the only options for me in terms of an actual upset, in terms of money lines and stuff like that. But I feel like the Jets are going to come into this game a little more hungry than the Dolphins are, because last week was the Dolphins game under the lights against a good Buffalo Bills team to really show that they are still a good team. They lost in the end, so I feel like that kind of...
good, though.
They did play good, but I feel like it's a little demoralizing for a team like Miami right now. And then for the Jets... Had Tyrod Taylor playing last week. We'll see if Justin Fields plays this week. But it was one of those games where it was almost kind of like one of those things you mentioned earlier, one of those emotional games where they thought they had them, but they ended up losing in the very end. So I feel like they'll add a little bit of extra juice, saying, "Oh, we should have won last week. Let's make up for it by winning this time around." But this time under the lights in Miami. So give me the Jets to win this one, as the Dolphins are going to start the season 0-4. I'm sorry, Brian.
Yeah, I'm also going with the New York Jets in this game. I just think that the Jets are the better football team. And in a game like this, neither team is really that much different for me on offense. I think they're both pretty even. Decent receiver one, Garrett Wilson, and Tyreek Hill. And even really, to me, Jalen Waddle, more importantly than Tyreek Hill, is wide receiver one there. But I think that it's going to be one of those situations where it's going to be a pretty close game, but it's going to be defensive. And I have the Jets winning 21-13 in a pretty boring game, to say the least. But hopefully it's not too bad in the end. I just don't think that the Dolphins have what it takes. Even at home, the Jets showed a lot of fight last week in defense and special teams, and those are two things that are going to help you win football games. And almost every offensive guy or defensive guy, head coach in general, will tell you, is if you win 2 out of those 3 phases, you win the football game, and the Jets haven't beaten both of those 2 phases for that at least, let alone maybe offense. It's pretty much a toss-up to me. But it's pretty much a toss-up to me, so it's just, I would say that the Dolphins lose this one. Go ahead and give me the Jets to win this game and get their first win. I'm sorry, Brian, but Brian's not sorry either. Brian's lock of the week is the Jets beating Miami.
No, it's the thing you talked about, the reverse.
Yeah, the reverse jinx. I know that's what it is. But
Curse you, Brian.
But Miami is the AI's pick as well.
Oh, wait, so AI's picking for Miami to win?
Yes.
Oh, AI's lone wolfing.
Twice.
Not see that one coming.
Yeah. No, man. And then the last game of this episode of the pod that's already an hour long.
Damn it. Didn't hit the mark.
Yeah. Broncos versus Bengals. Jake Browning still going to be quarterback after what was the most humiliating game last week for that team. Although not really his fault, but still. Now you're playing in Bo Nix and the Broncos, who really haven't been able to get things together. 1-2 to start the season after a 1-0 start against the Titans. They've lost each of the last 2 weeks to the Colts and Chargers, respectively. This is their first chance to really kind of like right the ship, if you will, against a pretty bad defense. Do they do it on Monday night?
Yeah, we're kind of over an hour here, so I'm going to keep this a little short on this one. But give me the Denver Broncos to win this game. You know, all the good things I was trying to say about the Cincinnati Bengals last week, and then I think when I said they were going to beat the Vikings, not really well. So definitely not going to pick the Bengals again for a little bit now. I think I learned my lesson. But that was just a crazy performance. Like, for that game for Cincinnati, it seemed like no one can even hold on to the ball. Like, it didn't seem like many people were doing much of anything right in that one. Yeah. I almost feel like if it's a emotional factor of knowing that Burrow's out for pretty much the season, so maybe it's something like kind of mental with the team. It's like, we're going to do this again, really. Like, what's the point of going out there giving my all every week if we don't got our guy? Yeah. You know, that's kind of what it felt like a little bit last week. But now you're playing against the Broncos team that's trying to get the wheels moving a little bit, even though they're at 1-2, so they got to get the ball rolling here a little bit, considering the Chiefs have been stumbling here out of the gate. There's a golden opportunity here.
If they would have beat the Chargers last week, we're talking about a whole different ball game for the AFC West.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. But Broncos defense, if they can definitely get things going in this one, I think Bo Nix can get some stuff going here in this one too. So I feel like this is definitely one of those get-right games here for the Denver Broncos. They got to take advantage of it here on a Monday night, and I think they're going to go out there and do it.
Yeah, I agree. 28-14 is my final score for this game. I think the Broncos finally get a chance to do some stuff right on offense, especially considering I don't expect the Bengals offense to move the ball much. That Bengals defense that's already pretty bad is going to get fatigued really quickly, and it's just going to be a lot of touchdowns and points for Denver in quick succession, leading me to picking the Denver Broncos in the end of this game. But the last little bit here is the Denver Broncos are both of the AI and Brian's picks as well to close out the week on a sweep. The only games me and you disagreed on were the Texans-Titans, which is my upset of the week, the 49ers-Jaguars game, and lastly, the Chiefs and Ravens game. So
I think it's going to be a toss-up.
Hopefully it goes your way. I'd say hopefully it goes your way.
I hope so too.
But I guess we'll wait and see what happens. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the OT Podcast. I'll kick it to you, Owen, to turn us off for this episode. What do you got to say?
If you guys enjoyed the video, thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. You got your nice Lombardi trophy over there. Hopefully I can touch that next week.
Whoa.
We'll see if that's going to be the case. But if you guys enjoy what we do over here on the channel, a subscribe would be so greatly appreciated. Just hit that 700 mark. Thank you again, Jason, for that, if you're still even watching this. But road to 800, I guess, would start now. So, again, if you guys want to subscribe, please do. I'd love it so much. Predictions, if you guys have any predictions, let us know in the comments below. And again, if you guys want to check out my score predictions, they should be popping up on the screen any moment now. But with that being said, I don't have much else to say except Lifeforms out.